We all rely on farmers and ranchers, but farming is riskier than other businesses out there. Crop insurance helps farmers manage their risk. With crop insurance, farmers put skin in the game by paying premiums and shouldering deductibles. That keeps taxpayers from having to pick up the whole bill every time disaster strikes. Today, about 90% of U.S. farmland is insured, providing $100 billion in protection to more than 130 different kinds of crops. It's a testament to the program's success.
Thank you for joining us for our Agri-Pulse Washington Week in Review. I'm Spencer Chase, joined as always by Agri-Pulse Senior Editor Phil Brasher, discussing the week that was, agriculturally speaking, in Washington, D.C. And in Washington, D.C. this week, the big news comes from an event that was supposed to happen next week. It was one of the worst kept secrets in Washington that the House Agriculture Committee was planning on marking up a farm bill next week. But those plans hit a bit of a snag, as Phil reported, toward the end of last week, when House Democrats really started to raise objections to plans in nutrition policy in the upcoming farm bill. And so now that markup has been postponed, as Chairman Conaway confirmed to reporters this week. So now that's really going to be instructive, Phil, potentially of issues that they're going to have to come, trying to thread a very thin needle here with farm bill policy on Capitol Hill.
Right. Well, the big problem, we don't know whether this is a giant pothole yet, or that Chairman Conaway can navigate around, or whether it's a large wall. Basically, it has to do with the nutrition title and some major changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, what most people still know as food stamps. Democrats on the committee are very unhappy. It would basically increase. We haven't seen the text yet. Let's be clear about that. And Democrats say they haven't seen the text yet. But it would increase the number of people on SNAP who are subject to work requirements. Use that money for expanding employment and training programs, and then it makes some other changes as well on a couple of issues that make it that increase the number of people who are eligible or increase their benefits. Democrats are at various levels of anger over these provisions. Chairman Conaway, as you said, decided to go ahead and postpone the action that he had planned next week, and while he negotiates with the Democrats to see if he can get something that they can support.
And Phil, the fact that they're not going to be marking up this farm bill next week, we don't know officially when they're planning on doing it now. How does that lead into the timeline of farm bill policy to come here? Because one would think if they're going to pass something this year, if they're going to pass a new farm bill this year, it has to be done by the end of July.
Yes, it does, or it has to be close to it. Here's the problem. After next week, Congress is out for 2 weeks around Easter, and come back in April, and then they basically would have April and May to move a farm bill both on the House side and the Senate side. The Senate is targeting April and May for the Senate Ag Committee is targeting April and May to move its bill. And then they'll have to negotiate some major differences between the two bills, particularly on nutrition. Assuming that there are still some major changes to SNAP, there's some other some big issues cropping up with the conservation programs and the different approaches that the two committees may take on that as well. So that leaves a very short amount of time to negotiate the differences between the two bills, if they can get them out of the House and Senate in May. And June and July may sound like a long time, but when it comes to farm bills, these things take a long weeks to work through. And just a little bit back on Chairman Conaway on the challenge he's got. You talked about the very narrow path that he has. He's got Republican conservatives on his right on the House floor who want to really cut the nutrition program, SNAP, significantly, but they also would like to see cuts to farm programs. He's got those folks on the right, and then on the left he's got the Democrats who don't want to see these cuts to nutrition. and they're feeling a little emboldened about their chances of taking control of the House in the elections this fall. And if they do, they know that they can shape this next farm bill much more to their liking.
So that's certainly something to follow. We don't know firm dates on when more action might happen, but as soon as we know, you will as well. We'll be sure to keep you up to date on all the information that we're getting on farm bill negotiations, farm bill policy, everything we can to keep you informed about what's going on here in Washington. But before we let you go, we do want to shift and talk about something else that's been on a lot of people's radars here for the last couple of months, really since passage of the Republican tax bill last year. And that being a fix to the 199A provision that was included in that tax bill. Had some, I believe the phrase that everyone's using is unintended consequences, because they're not real keen on saying we screwed up. I didn't say that out loud, don't worry. But they were looking to fix that 199A provision. Details have been kind of emerging, and they seem to have a plan and a plan to pass it into legislative text as well.
Right, they have the language. You just need to put it on an omnibus spending bill that Congress needs to pass next week. The Democratic leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, has raised some objections. He came out and said this week that he's not inclined to let the Republicans fix this problem with the new tax law unless they're willing to open up the whole law to changes that the Democrats would like to make. Good chance that's mostly negotiating leverage that he's looking for. He knows that Republicans really need to get this fixed, and they're under a lot of pressure from agribusiness to get it done. And so we'll see. Stay tuned. But I think there's optimism with. You talked yesterday to Senator John Thune, who was really one of the 2 or 3 leaders in getting this fix done, and he was pretty optimistic that there was enough Democratic support that it would get in this spending bill next week.
Yeah, he expressed a lot of confidence that they had the support to get there, and so whether or not they do will be determined next week as Congress looks to pass an omnibus bill and potentially include this 199A fix in there. But I think that's going to do it for this week. Another opportunity that I will take for a form of shameless self-promotion. If the House isn't going to be marking up a farm bill next Wednesday, why not stop by the Agri-Pulse Ag and Food Policy Summit on Wednesday? More details on that on our website.
It's going to be the place to be on Wednesday if you're interested in agriculture.
Yeah.
So join us.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of great speakers there. More information online at agripulse.com. But I think that's going to do it for this week. So for Phil Brasher, I'm Spencer Chase. Have a good one.